Kinji Fukasaku isn't a horror director. His long career consists of multiple genres: dramas, samurai movies, comedies, and gangster films. Significantly, Yakuza-oriented gangster films. So why am I looking at him here on History of Horror? Well, two reasons. First, he made several films that, if not horror, certainly belong to the science fiction and dystopia genres, and those are close relatives of the horror genre. And second, Kinji Fukasaku is too interesting to ignore, so while this episode will be shorter than those where I focus on horror cinema, I definitely wanted to take a quick look at Fukasaku's speculative genre films. As for the man himself, Fukasaku was born in 1930. His formative years were spent in a country in turmoil, with the horrors of World War II no doubt weighing heavily on him. After surrendering in 1945, Japan was a country with a broken back, and certainly a broken economy. The young Fukasaku, however, persevered, eventually landing a position as an assistant director at Toei in the early 1950s. From there, he worked his way up to director, making his debut in 1961. Fukasaku was slowly but surely assigned bigger and bigger projects, including co-directing the Japanese scenes of the American Pearl Harbor drama Tora Tora Tora. He only got the assignment after first-choice director Akira Kurosawa pulled out. Kurosawa, of course, is the most well-known and celebrated director in Japanese film history. His works remain revered, studied, and talked about. They are humanistic, exacting, ordered, and extremely controlled. Kinji Fukasaku is Kurosawa's polar opposite. His films are cynical, satirical, and filled to the brim with chaos. Granted, I've so far only seen a small selection of Fukasaku's work, but they strike me as entirely different in approach to Kurosawa's films. The Western stereotype of Japan, seen in films like the entertaining Tom Cruise adventure drama The Last Samurai, often depict Japan as a highly ordered culture. Sure, this stereotype exists for a reason, so often on display in older Japanese art, but it's still a simplified view of a complex culture. Kinji Fukasaku certainly embraces other sides and alternate cultural viewpoints that, despite countering the stereotype, still portray emotional truth about the turmoil in Japanese society. Nowhere is this more apparent than in the Yakuza gangster series Battles Without Honor or Humanity. The series of films portray the rise of the Yakuza in post-war Hiroshima. There is no traditional good guy. The stories cover violence and poverty and desperation, and the general mood here is one of aimless and dystopic despair. Alliances are forged and broken, friendships turn into lethal enmity, people are slaughtered, and life has little meaning. It's a great series of films, but we won't spend too long on them as they don't belong in the horror genre or anywhere near them. But boy are they worth checking out, if you don't mind elaborately orchestrated chaos. And this chaos truly does infect all of Fukasaku's genre films as well. His first science fiction picture was The Green Slime, produced in 1968. The film was an American-Japanese production, originally conceived as the fifth film in a series of Italian low-budget sci-fi pictures directed by Antonio Margheriti. The films followed the space station Gamma 1, and their commercial success at the box office caused producers Ivan Reiner and Walter Manley to develop an unofficial fifth film, this time with a higher budget and shot in Japan instead of in Italy. MGM and Toei co-financed. Toei chose Kinji Fukasaku for the directing job. The green slime follows the crew on the space station Gamma 3, who are assigned a mission to blow up an asteroid that's on a collision course with Earth. The mission is a success, but while planting the explosives, the crew of astronauts bring along the titular green slime onto their spaceship. Back at the station, the slime mutates into plant-like monsters, which, lo and behold, are electrical to the touch. Soon, Gamma 3 and his crew must fight off hordes of plant-like tentacled slime monsters, while the station collapses around them. The film is a good time, but not critically acclaimed by any means. In fact, it was used as a pilot for the TV series Mystery Science Theater 3000. Still, I'd argue that the green slime has its merits. Yes, the script is trite, with several rather boring and repetitive scenes between stars Robert Horton and Richard Jekyll, quarreling endlessly without ever really getting anywhere or resolving anything. And poor Luciana Paluzzi gets absolutely nothing to do, other than look sullen while the menfolk bicker. Despite this, Fukasaku enlivens the action scenes, giving the science fiction battles a distinctly Japanese touch, reminiscent in visual design to the Ishiro Honda Godzilla films of the 60s. The cinematic result is that the green slime stands out among contemporary sci-fi. It feels both American in style, with manly men on a mission, and Japanese, with rubber monsters inflicting chaos upon infrastructure. Furthermore, Fukasaku emphasizes said chaos every chance he gets, first with the contamination of the space station, and then with the lumbering mass of electrical plants overwhelming the Gamma 3 crew. Fukasaku's Japanese cut ran 77 minutes, and had a score by Toshiaki Tsushima. The longer American cut, which is the one I've seen, runs 90 minutes and has additional music by Charles Fox. Apparently, Fukasaku's cut omitted a lot of the endless bickering between Horton and Jekyll, which is quite frankly what slows the film down. I suspect that the Japanese version is superior, but I gotta admit, I love that goofy title song in the American cut.
Will you believe it when you're dead? Green slime! Green slime! Green slime!
Kinji Fukasaku returned to the sci-fi genre in 1978 with Message from Space, and then again in 1980 with another Japanese-American co-production called Virus. Virus had an all-star cast including Masao Kushikari, Glenn Ford, Robert Vaughn, and George Kennedy. The film chronicles a man-made viral outbreak unleashed upon the world after an airplane crashes in the Alps. Soon, society collapses. The survivors must then deal with further calamity when an earthquake threatens to trigger the automated nuclear arsenal of the United States. In a normal genre film, the heroes would stop this from happening. In a Kinji Fukasaku film, chaos prevails and the nukes are launched. Chaos is the new world order. And so it was again in the last film Fukasaku made, before he died of cancer in 2003. Battle Royale chronicles a future Japan in the throes of a major recession. The natural solution seems to be to bring a random school class to a remote island for a bloody battle royale. The young teenagers are told they must fight to the death until only one victor remains. They have 3 days to do it. If they refuse to fight, their classmates will kill them to claim victory. If they try to escape, explosive collars detonate. And if they happen to be at the island with their beloved, well, tough luck. Just like in battles without honor or humanity, chaotic violence ensues. Alliances are forged and broken. Friends turn on each other with lethal results. Battle Royale owes a clear debt to the classic novella The Most Dangerous Game by Richard Connell, but Kinji Fukasaku also makes this story his own. He masterfully adapts the source material by novelist Kushon Takami, creating a horrifying yet oddly humorous world where lives don't matter and chaos rules absolutely. The film's success launched a sequel, but Fukasaku was only able to direct this single scene before his illness became terminal. The first Battle Royale, however, was recognized as a masterpiece, and it brought attention back to his rich output as a director. And indeed, the films of Kinji Fukasaku are a pleasure to explore. I haven't seen most of his works yet, but his genre films have been a gateway into his cinema. The chaos, so wild and jarring, becomes a way through which Fukasaku analyzes both local and global culture. It is a perspective that's askew from the one frequently shown to newcomers of Japanese cinema history. So while you watch and enjoy Akira Kurosawa's films, or explore highly disciplined and measured works of Japanese horror cinema like Kwaidan and Onibaba, or more recently Cure and The Grudge, don't forget to also check out the legacy of Kinji Fukasaku. His films captured both cinematic horror and beauty, leaving us with a wild concoction of fascinating chaos. My name is Wolfcraft. This is History of Horror. If you enjoyed, please like and share. If you want to check out some of my other works, I'm an author. My science fiction novel, God of Desolation, is available on Amazon, and my upcoming urban fantasy mystery novel, Richly Drawn, will be available soon on inkshares.com. Thanks aplenty.